Hi, I'm Bersercules, the Berserk Herc, and today I'll be reviewing Action Comics number 260, Story 1, called Mighty Maid, featuring a cover with Superman passionately making out with whoever the hell Mighty Maid is, with the tagline, "You'll never guess who she is. So I won't even try." What the hell? Is it Lana Lang? Batman? A Superman robot in drag? A random prostitute? And if it's Batman, he sure does have nice legs. Lois, what a terrific scoop! At last, Superman has found a super powerful woman who is worthy of his love. 'Cause if you're not super powered, you don't deserve Superman's love. The biggest, and for me, the unhappiest, story of my career. Wait, I get that it could be the unhappiest story of your career, but the biggest? How is Superman finding someone to super love the biggest story of your career? It's just some stupid romance. What kind of shitty reporter are you? Didn't that alien astounding man abduct you and take you to another planet? Wasn't that a big story? First woman on another planet? Neil Armstrong eat your heart out? What the fuck, Lois? Anyway, now over to the splash page as we see Superman with Mighty Maid as Perry White says, "Wow, what a terrific scoop. Superman has found a super powerful woman who is worthy of his love." The biggest, and for me, the unhappiest, story of my career. What the fuck? Didn't that just happen? Holy deja vu, Batman! The cover and splash page are basically the same. I know they're often similar, but this is almost exactly the same. Soup and Mighty Maid embracing as Perry and Lois say basically the same thing, while in the case of Lois, the exact same thing. What the hell? Could they not think of anything else for the splash page? I mean, this isn't even the second or third story in this comic, where people might have forgotten what was on the cover. This is the first story. You literally see the cover, then open the comic, and this is the next page. As if they thought you'd forgotten what you just saw. They could have at least changed it up a little bit. Like have Soup with his arm around Mighty Maid as he tells of their love to Lois, as she thinks her lines, or have them announce their love at a party, as Lois thinks her lines. It doesn't even need to actually have happened in the story, because you've done that before. It just needs to be not the same. Jeepers. And is it just me, or does it seem like Perry's agent was on the ball for this issue? He got both the cover and splash page without being necessary for either. Way to go, Perry! So now on to page 2 and the start of the story, as we see Soup flying with Mighty Maid as Perry says, "Wow, what a terrific scoop. Superman, just kidding." Thankfully, this comic doesn't start off like the last 2 identical pages have. Instead, we get something different. Or what passes as different in a comic book that's been pretty much the same with no change or character growth for decades. Wait, was that what the repeating cover and splash page were meant to represent? Is this comic showing self-awareness? Is it subtly mocking itself? Is this comic book trying to be deep or artsy-fartsy? Or am I just reading too much into this? Anyway, comic, why not try being good? So the actual story starts off as Perry White. Seriously? I've never seen Perry White featured this much in a single issue of one of these comics before. Is this like a failed Perry White pilot? Was he supposed to be getting his own comic or something? Superman's secret identity, Clark Kent's boss, Perry White. Issue number 1. Get it on newsstands today, kids. Or would it be Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen and Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane's boss, Perry White? Anyway. At the Daily Planet one day, as Clark Kent is about to leave on his annual vacation. Gee, I wonder what he's gonna go do. Go live under the sea for a week with mermaids? Or set the world record for holding his breath the longest living underwater in a water tank for a week? What? That's not a joke. He's done both of those things before. He has super priorities. And don't worry about all the people who died during those weeks, whose deaths he could have prevented. They're glad he did something else instead. Dude, we're gonna die in this room when that bomb goes off. Then help me call for Superman! Superman, help! Dude, don't bother. He's all spending the week underwater in a tank. What? Why would you say that? There's no time for jokes! Help! Superman, help! No, I'm serious. What? What do you mean? I went and saw it yesterday. It was pretty cool. He was reading a newspaper while sitting in a comfy chair, all while underwater in a glass tank. Oh, cool. I wish I could have seen it. You know, before I died. Yeah, it's pretty cool he's doing that. It'll be a part of human history, you know. He kind of looked like a fish. Cool. It was nice knowing you. Can we be friends in heaven? Anyway, Perry then goes on about how there are many twisters hitting the tornado belt and that he shouldn't have sent Lois there, which causes Clark, Superman Kent, to suddenly care about what's happening to Lois at this moment. Knowing Lois as I do, I'll bet she's in the thick of trouble right now. And does anyone else in the tornado belt maybe weren't worrying about Superman? No? Just Lois? So if Lois was there with you, you wouldn't give two shits about anyone dying in the tornado belt? You'd just be off on your vacation? Okay. I better check with my telescopic X-ray vision. But why? She's not in the shower. Oh, you want to check on her safety. Right. Checking in on Lois, Clark sees that she is in trouble and quickly rushes out of Perry's office while going on about taking his vacation. I'm taking my vacation before you change your mind. So long, Perry. And if Perry had waited 20 more seconds before talking to you about his worries on Lois, you wouldn't have looked in time and she might be dead. It's a good thing she gave up that signal watch. Ducking into an empty store, Clark Kent drops his guise as a timid reporter and switches to the dynamic Superman. And all I can think is he in an empty store, like an empty storage room? Or an empty store like a closed toy store where he's standing in the window display and people outside can see him changing? Where is he right now? Because all we get to see is that it's yellow. No other background but yellow. Is this the room where the Daily Planet keeps all its yellow? Looks like they got that yellow problem solved. Enough yellow for everyone. For decades. Anyway, presently, as the twister strikes, and by presently they mean January 1960. Anyway, presently, back to the review, and by presently I mean March 2017. As the twister strikes... I shouldn't have given up the signal watch! Gee, I wonder if Lois is gonna die. I'd be even more scared if I wasn't sure Superman will zip to the rescue, as usual. I hope. Really, Lois? You're getting pretty confident in Superman. I mean, even if I had a super friend who was always saving me, I wouldn't assume that they'd always be able to do that. If you're putting yourself in danger constantly because you know Sup will save you, you might want to rethink that. But just before Lois can learn her lesson the hard way, she is saved by who she assumes is Superman, but when Superman shows up moments later, after she would have hit the ground and died, she realizes it's not Superman holding her. But if he isn't holding me, who is? A woman! A woman in a strange costume. Yep, strange costume. I've seen people in your time wear that exact outfit as daily wear, Lois. Dumbass. Who are you? You may call me Mighty Maid. Is that not your name? Are you avoiding lying? Did Sup give Lana Lang some of his superpowers? Or one of his Superman robots to dress? Why? Why must I wear this dress? Actually, I like how it makes my hips look. Cool. Shh! Sexbot 3000? No one must know of you. What? That was a joke. Excuse me, you already used the robot and drag joke at the beginning of this review. I know. I'm mocking the cover and splash page being the same by reusing the same jokes. So, you've been mocking this issue since the beginning of your Superman reviews years ago? What? Fuck you! Get out of here! And how are you even in the same spot as one of my robots? I was just gonna ask you the same thing! Anyway, since you have superpowers too, you must come from another planet also. So are all superheroes with superpowers in the DC universe from other planets? So Aquaman is an alien? Crazy. Is he related to Ronald the Alien Merperson? No, I'm from another dimensional world. So then yes, a different planet. Wait, another dimension? Like the fourth or fifth dimension? Is she Mr. Mixapillic in drag, suffering from gigantism? We have had this world under observation for centuries. You are very famous on my world. So, Sup, how's it feel to know you're being watched? Not so nice when the shoe's on the other foot. Wait, so they could tell us what happened in our history? They could tell us who Jack the Ripper was? They could tell us the details about the signing of the Magna Carta, or the Declaration of Independence? Or how the Sphinx lost its nose? Lois, this is the greatest news story! Write about this! Wait, so they've probably seen many famous women in the shower? Take me with you, Mighty Maid. And of course, Superman and Mighty Maid quickly start to fall in love. Like, super quickly. Basically, their first conversation has them making flirty faces at each other as Mighty Maid constantly touches Superman. And as the mighty duo get close, Lois thinks, "The hussy! She's shamelessly throwing herself at him." Yes, it's sickening, isn't it? Now you know how we feel when we have to watch you doing it. Anyway, Lois, are you not going to ask to interview her about all the Earth history she probably knows about? Why are you so focused on being jealous? This is why your greatest news story is a stupid romance story. You don't know when to seize opportunities for actual great stories. Anyway, totally enthralled with each other, the two super lovebirds fly off together, leaving Lois alone in the tornado belt, and still in possible danger. Does Superman ever do any super heroics? Anyway, Soup then shows Mighty Maid a bunch of sights from our world that she probably already saw while spying on Earth. Seriously, Mighty Maid, what does Marilyn Monroe look like in the shower? Can you draw me a picture of her? Heck, can you visit Genius Jones from the last review and borrow the Thotto printer? Anyway, after visiting the Rock of Gibraltar, are others still in danger in the tornado belt? No? Okay, anyway, they then head over to Egypt and end up stopping the Sphinx from collapsing due to an earth tremor. So that stood for thousands of years, but then almost fell now, like right now, just as Superman happened to not only be alive in the right day and age, but be in that exact location at that exact moment? Wow! Thank Ra! And is an earth tremor the same as an earthquake? Or is it somehow different? Is it what you call a plot-convenient earthquake? Anyway, as they save the Sphinx, it falls on Mighty Maid, causing Soup to cry out, "The Sphinx fell on Mighty Maid!" Holy shit! Thanks for the heads up, Superman! Didn't see that right in front of my face! No need to get excited, my body is also invulnerable like yours, remember? I forgot for a moment. Superwits. So, saving the Sphinx, they turn to other things, such as each other, as Superman holds Mighty Maid close. I never thought I'd be so overwhelmed by any woman. He's going to kiss her! Superman's in love! Laughing, Mighty Maid dashes off, but the ardent Man of Steel overtakes her above Milwaukee and they passionately make out as they are photographed by some guy in an airplane. I think Soup likes to be watched. Yow! What a picture! This will mean a promotion for me for sure! What a way to get a promotion! Hey boss, how'd you get your job? Why, I took a picture of Superman making out with a woman in midair. Actually, that sounds better than Perry White's story of Untouchable Stranger foils Capone mob. But anyway. Wow, Soup sure likes to make out with Mighty Maid. And I know what you're thinking. He's in love. Of course he wants to make out with her. But you forget what the cover said. But that can be forgiven, as it wasn't re-shown on the splash page. Anyway, the cover said, "You'll never guess who Mighty Maid is." So obviously it's someone we know. Someone who Superman is pretending to love for some secret reason. But I mean, he must really like the person. He obviously wouldn't be making out with her so much if she was secretly Batman or Lex Luthor in drag. So it's gotta be someone Superman wishes he could make out with all the time. Maybe Lana Lang. But he could make out with her normally, because she wants him. So it's probably not her. But it could be Lori Lemur as the mermaid, using fake legs. Superman likes her, but she has a husband, so he can't go around kissing her all the time. So maybe while he has her in costume, he's making sure to make the most of it by kissing her constantly every chance he gets. Anyway, I don't know who Mighty Maid is, but whoever she is, he sure likes to hold her in his arms and make out with her. And now over to the Daily Planet, where we see Perry, as he keeps racking up his appearances in this story, as he talks to Lois about how he thinks Superman will soon propose to Mighty Maid, and that he wants Lois to get the story. And then conveniently Superman shows up and says basically the same thing. So Soup wants news coverage on his marriage proposal? Wow, Soup really does like to be watched. I guess that's why he invades other people's privacy all the time. He doesn't care for privacy himself. It's a good thing this incarnation of Superman's not around these days. He'd probably take 1 million selfies a second, not exaggerating, and post them on social media every second of every day. Hey, you should friend Superman on Facebook. Good idea, I will. There. Hey, what the heck? My phone is constantly uploading with new pictures of Superman. I can't stop it. I can't turn it off. I'm frozen out of my phone. Yeah, I know. Soup's a dick. You knew this would happen? You asshole! Anyway, that evening, Lois accompanies Superman and Mighty Maid on a beach party. Can 3 people really be called a party? It wouldn't even be an orgy. While I heat the hot dogs with my X-ray vision, you can cool the lemonade with your super breath. Oh, so that's what you two are doing in this picture. Thanks, Soup. Without your narration, I wouldn't have known. I'd have thought you were fighting dinosaurs. And is it just me, or is this picture really weird? I mean, they're using their superpowers to prepare food on the beach at night. And why Soup got tongs? Does his X-ray vision cook his skin? Can Soup even taste food, or feel the cold of the lemonade? Could they not just eat the food cold and drink the lemonade warm? And all this while Lois watches from a sand dune. What? And then the super duo passionately kiss, cause obviously these two can't keep their hands off each other. Mighty Maid, will you marry me? Yes, darling, yes! Wow, they can speak very clearly for 2 people kissing. They really are super. Oh, and if we translate that with what I said in my last review about how marriage proposals happen so fast and furious in these old comics that they make more sense being replaced with requests for sex, we get... Mighty Maid, will you fuck me? Yes, darling, yes. Congratulations, you're both very wonderful people, and I wish you the very best. May your fuck session be long, and happy, and... I've got to rush the story to the waiting presses. Ha 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 ha. Now that I think of it, that last page with Perry and Lois talking about a possible Superman marriage proposal would be quite funny with a translation too. Lois, the story of Superman's super romance is making international headlines, but we'll scoop them all. How? Superman is going to ask Mighty Maid if he can fuck her. Sure as shooting. Now I feel, say, you're a good friend of Superman, right? Now if you were to write an eyewitness account of their fucking... Perry, have you got rocks in your head or something? Superman wouldn't want a news hound hanging around at a time like that. When they fuck, he'll want privacy. You're wrong, Lois. I'm so happy about being in love with Mighty Maid, I want to shout it from the rooftops. I'd be delighted to have you present when I pop her cherry. Didn't I tell you, Lois? Superman's your friend. Anyway, back to the story, as Mighty Maid has accepted Superman's proposal, and Lois, having congratulated the 2 of them, then rushes off crying, causing Superman to say... She's crying. Women. Sentimental scenes move them to tears easily. Is Soup really that clueless? Superwits. Anyway, later. Great. Keep it up, Lois. This is the best article you ever wrote. And the saddest. I wish Perry wouldn't be so doggone cheerful. I am afraid I'm going to cry again. Why does this part sound so familiar? Anyway. But soon, an even more sensational story breaks. Superman to quit Earth forever. Sorry, but no news story has ever been able to excite me after finding out Titano is larger than Gigantosaur. Superman to quit Earth forever. Announces he will live in 4th dimension with Bride. By Lois Lane. So after all that cover and splash page talk of Soup and Mighty Maid as a couple being not only a huge story, but also Lois's biggest story, it's suddenly outdone by the very next panel? That was short-lived. Why was the cover not about this? Or at least the splash page? Jeepers! And isn't the 4th dimension time? Is he gonna go live in time? Is he gonna throw his wife into the prehistoric past to get rid of her? Super divorce! Superman announced today that he will quit Earth forever and go to Mighty Maid's 4th dimensional world. I hope it has a lot of water. Soup likes water. There he and his super fiancée will be married. He also revealed that he will give his robots to the FBI. The war against crime will go on, said the Man of Steel, aided by my robots who possess all my superpowers. But that always fall apart. And why didn't you give the FBI a bunch of your robots earlier? Hell, why not make an entire army of them to be like a worldwide police force? Or are you always just too busy with more important work, like building statues of yourself and hanging out in tanks of water? Oh, and your really active Clark Kent dating life. 'Cause they could have been flying around and saving people as you farted around doing all that stupid stuff. So the super couple then fly around the world to many farewell parties. Wow, the Japanese can yell loud and in unison really well. And Lois has found happiness in her suspicion that Mighty Maid is a robot. But after getting Mighty Maid alone, next to a giant magnet and not seeing her stick to it, She realizes she's not a robot and gets all depressed, realizing Superman's marriage is real and not a hoax. Lois, you know it could still be a hoax, right? Soup could have just hired a hooker and given her some of his blood so she has superpowers. Or made a robot out of plastic or wood. Which I guess makes more sense than the prostitute guess. Oh, or better yet, she could be some MILF from the bottle city of Candor. And if a giant magnet can stop the Superman robots, they aren't going to be much help to the FBI. And Lois, if Soup is using a robot for a scheme, you would have just wrecked the scheme, and if the scheme was to help save people, you could have possibly caused people to die. Anyway, having said their farewells, the super couple then disappear into time, leaving Perry and Lois to deal with their absence. Where's Jimmy Olsen? He hasn't been in this whole issue. He better not be Mighty Maid. I know he looks like a girl when he dresses as Julie Ogden choir girl, but with all that making out Soup and Mighty Maid have been doing, if it's Jimmy, I'm gonna be pissed. No, not because of the homo action, but because Superman would be taking advantage of Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy is a kid, and Soup is his idol. Soup could make him do anything, and having him do something like that is just wrong. Superman should never force himself on a child, not even to save the world. Anyway, and then we see two figures streak into the ocean and come up in an underwater cavern. I knew this vacation would have Superman underwater at some point. Nice going, Mighty Maid. You may unmask now. And become my real self again? Good. And here it is, folks, what we've all been waiting for. Who is Mighty Maid? Who is this woman Superman's been totally into, who he's been making out with constantly, holding hands with all over the world, fawning over and fondling constantly? Is it Lana Lang with superpowers, or a random prostitute? The mermaid Larry Lemurs? A Superman robot in drag? It fucking better not be Jimmy Olsen, Superman's boy pal. It could be Batman. It fucking better not be Robin. It could be Mr. Mxyzptlk suffering from gigantism, or a MILF from the bottle city of Candor. Fuck it, it could be Lex Luthor. But I don't see why he'd make out with him so much if it was. Anyway, place your bets now. My money's on Batman. So who is it? Who could it be? When Superman needs someone for a secret plan that involves a lot of making out, who does he call on? And the person in question is Supergirl! Supergirl! Supergirl? Your 15-year-old cousin Supergirl? The one who just recently landed on Earth, of which you're our only living family? The one you make live in an orphanage, and only allow her to do super deeds in secret? The one you're basically a father figure to? What the fuck? So she's the one you've been making out with and fondling this whole time? Holy shit! Superman just spent this whole fucking issue holding hands with and making out with his 15-year-old cousin! He probably had a make-out session with her in every country in the whole world! Holy Jerry Lee Lewis! So first you make your 15-year-old cousin wear a skin-tight shirt with a mini-skirt, which is exactly how you make your girlfriend Lois dress when you give her superpowers. Then you get them the same shitty Christmas gift, a signed picture of yourself, and you also tell Supergirl to never let anyone on Earth know she exists. Then you concoct this dumb plan and proceed to make out with her all week long. Holy creepy shit! Honestly, I actually wish it had been Batman. I mean, he's an adult. He can make his own choices. He can tell Superman no. Would Supergirl have the guts to tell him no if the thought of her first kiss being with her older bachelor cousin had grossed her out? And did he need to be that handsy with her? They didn't need to be kissing so much, or at all. They could have had it that the people of the fourth dimension are very conservative. Jeepers! What is this? Porn for hillbillies? Nah, this just be creepy. And why ain't this issue got no Jimmy and his purty mouth? Off comes brunette wig, makeup, false legs. What? False legs? Did Mighty Maid have 4 legs? Or Supergirl an amputee? Oh, false legs like to make her look taller. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted right now. A bit grossed out. 'Cause Soup's been making out with his cousin! The way you made us seem to disappear with the help of concealed blinding lights activated by a time mechanism was very effective. I'm sorry. I don't care about how you pulled this off, comic. I want to know why. Why did Superman need to parade his teenage cousin around as a lover? Comic, please tell me why Soup needed to neck his underage cousin. And it better not be because he needed to fuck with Lois or anything. This better be good. And I know you're going to tell me the reasons, because Superman never passes up the opportunity to narrate things. But why did we need to perpetrate the hoax? And why are we hiding here in this underwater cavern? So basically, why'd I have to spend the last couple days holding your hand and making out with you? So even Supergirl doesn't know why Soup had her making out with him? She just got a message from Superman to dress up like Mighty Maid and go save Lois, and then act attracted to him and touch him a lot and go along with all his kisses? So Soup could basically ask her to do anything and she'll do it? Fuck! Is this the message we should be sending to kids? Do whatever adult family members tell you to do, no questions asked? Look, though I doubt any kids are watching this, or anyone for that matter, kids, if an adult tells you to do anything weird like that, don't do it. Many adults are sick and get sexual pleasure from touching kids or looking at their bodies. If an adult wants you to wear a weird costume or touch them in odd places, or see parts of their body not normally seen, don't do it, and go tell a different adult about what happened. Supergirl just does what she's told and asks questions later. But why did you have to perpetrate the hoax? And why are we hiding here in this underwater cavern? It all began the day I started hearing angry voices. Are you trying to plead insanity to your incest, Superman? I didn't mean to make my underage cousin wear revealing costumes and make out with me. The angry voices made me do it. The angry voices made me do it. It all began the day I started hearing angry voices. Doesn't it always? At first, I thought I was losing my mind. Yeah, that's how it starts. Wait, you didn't realize you can't lose what you already lost? Super wits. Anyway, Soup explains how the voices were coming from aliens who were spying on him, and their spy equipment allowed him to read their minds, and through that he was able to find out that they wanted to destroy Earth to hurt him, because decades prior, some of their ships had flown past Krypton and been shot down, and the survivors pledged vengeance on Krypton. But before they could come back and destroy Krypton, they saw it explode and saw Superman's escape as a baby, and decided to wait till he grew up to finish their vengeance against Krypton, and come after him decades later as an adult. Now finding out Superman is invulnerable and can't be destroyed, they plan to destroy Earth to hurt Superman. Yeah, that doesn't sound like total made-up bullshit. Soup, did that really happen? Or did you just make up that retarded story to justify playing tonsil hockey with your underage cousin? Just admit it, and admit yourself to the Phantom Zone. This has got to be the most fucked up explanation for what's been going on in one of these comics ever. And that's saying something. Usually the explanations in these comics can be strange and contrived, but this takes the cake. The writers worked really hard to make and justify a story where Superman would need to make out with and caress his underage teenage cousin. So let me just go over this one more time to see if I get the gist of what's been going on. Superman started hearing voices, and at first he thought he was going insane, until he looked in the direction that the vibrations were coming from and saw a spaceship full of aliens wearing saggy diapers, and then found out that the aliens were spying on him, and somehow their spy equipment allowed him to read their minds, and through that he was able to find out that they wanted to destroy Earth to hurt him, knowing that they wouldn't be able to kill him because of his indestructibility, and they wanted to hurt Superman because decades prior, around the time of Superman's birth, some of their spaceships had flown past Krypton on their way somewhere else, and by flown past, I mean flown down into Krypton's atmosphere in the eyesight of its inhabitants, because I guess space is a very small area, and their spaceships were attacked, causing the survivors to swear vengeance on Krypton. But before they could come back and destroy Krypton, they, using a super powerful telescope, saw Krypton explode, and noticed a little rocket ship Superman escaped on as a baby, but not the giant chunk of the planet that Superman's uncle was on that also flew off at that time. You know, the one that Supergirl was born on. Anyway, seeing the rocket with the baby Kryptonian in it, flying off to Earth, they decided, since vengeance is a dish best served cold, to wait 30 or so years, and then seek out and destroy that baby. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with these aliens? This is actually the most fucked up thing I've ever read in one of these comics. And I just read a comic about Superman making out with his teenage cousin. They want to get vengeance on a baby. Someday we will seek out and destroy the Kryptonian brat. What the fuck? This is messed up! Seriously, they want to get vengeance on a baby for being born on a planet where someone shot down some of their rocket ships. I know war is senseless, but this is just retarded on top of retarded. And seriously, why wait? He's just a baby. Kill him now. What? I'm not saying it's good to kill babies, but it makes no sense to wait. And if they destroy Earth, they'll be killing millions of babies. Soup's just one baby. Earth is like the planet of the babies. Oh, and by the way, Krypton probably had millions of babies on it too, so you're looking at a picture of millions of babies dying right now. So Soup, why don't you go fight these aliens in space and save Earth? But why don't you fight them in space and save Earth? Yeah, that! It sounds like you avoided doing something simple like that so you could concoct this elaborate plan to fool around with your kid cousin. I don't want to harm them. From their point of view, there is some reason for their anger. What? What the fuck did you just say? A reason for their anger? You just told Supergirl about them wishing to destroy you as an innocent baby. They want to genocide an entire planet for taking in an innocent baby who came from a planet where someone shot down someone else's people. That's the weakest reason for genocide ever. They're the worst evil you ever faced. You need to fight them. They actually need to be genocided. They are a danger to anyone they come across. And also, beyond just harming them or tricking them, you could have just talked to them. Or would that have gotten in the way of your whole fool around with your cousin vacation you were on? And what explanation or justification does Soup have for thinking they would have a reason for their anger? Well, after Superman tells Supergirl they have a reason for their anger, why, he changes the conversation. They don't know we're here, underwater. One day while wrestling a whale, I made a discovery with my super senses. Who cares if they can't see you in your undersea cave or when you're underwater? We don't need that explained. I want you to explain it. Wait, what? Wrestling a whale? Wrestling a whale? Underwater? Why are you beating the shit out of that whale? I thought you liked the sea. Or do you like the sea because no one can see you beating up animals? So as Soup beat the shit out of some sea life, he realized the aliens' monitoring devices didn't work underwater, and how long in advance did he know that they were coming to destroy the Earth before he put his plan into action? Was he just letting them watch him for weeks or something? Damn, he loves to be watched. I bet in this scene when he was cooking with Mighty Maid, he was using his telescopic vision to see Lois's reflection off the prongs, so he could watch Lois as she watched him preparing a meal with his teenage cousin that he is pretending to have a sexual relationship with as she is dressed up like an adult despite being a child, all while being the man Lois loves, who is secretly Clark Kent, a man she barely likes, who is a co-worker of hers, and knowing that an alien battleship full of yellow-skinned aliens in purple diapers are watching him, and that Lois is writing about the events that night to put in a newspaper for the world to read about. And that's how Superman gets off. That and beating the shit out of peaceful underwater animals. And making out with his cousin. So he found out the aliens were watching him, then days, weeks, or months later, figured out they can't watch him underwater? Or did after finding out the aliens were watching, did you then go to clear your head and think about it in your favorite place to go, under the sea? Do you beat up on whales to clear your mind? Does beating up sea life help you think? Jeepers! The monitor is no longer working. They don't realize it's because I'm underwater. Well, get out quickly. This information may prove valuable later. And once you found this stuff out, did you avoid saving people in the water? Were you avoiding saving people in the water all the time you perpetrated this Mighty Maid hoax? What am I asking? Of course you did. You probably were too busy necking with your soon-to-be child bride to save anyone. Must have been hard giving up beating up whales for a while. But hey, at least you had your teenage cousin to play with. I see. Now the aliens will believe you've gone into another dimension and will leave Earth alone. Why would they do that? They want to hurt Superman by destroying his adopted planet Earth. They can still do that. Remember Mighty Maid said that they could watch Earth from her dimension. So if Earth is destroyed, Soup would still know about it and be hurt by its destruction. Nothing changes. Soup, your plan hasn't worked. They can still get their vengeance on you by destroying the Earth. But hey, at least you got some sweet cousin-on-cousin action. Right. My supervision shows they've turned back towards their distant world and have returned to a state of suspended animation. What? Wow, those aliens are fucking dumb! They waited all that time and go to all that trouble to get vengeance on a baby just to give up at the first sign of trouble? What the fuck? So our super duo then go to the spaceship of fools and leave them a note explaining everything. So you expect them to understand a note, but not an actual explanation in person? Soup, you sure used a weird solution to solve your problems this time, and it just happens to be the one time where the alternative solution happens to involve you making out with a little girl. What the fuck? Anyway, as they stand in the alien spaceship, Soup then tells his teenage plaything that the Kryptonians shot the spaceships thinking they were invaders, and Supergirl asks him how he knew that. And then as they land back on Earth, Soup answers, saying that he has a Kryptonian city in a bottle in his Fortress of Solitude, and that the inhabitants of it told him their version of the incident. That was an odd pause in the conversation. But I guess in space, even Supergirl can't hear Superman answer. This has been thrilling, since the first moment I disguised myself as Mighty Maid and rescued Lois as instructed by you. Yeah, she's had her first kiss, her first conversation with Lois, got to spend quality time with her only father figure, even if that father figure had his tongue down her throat most of the time. Supergirl then begs to be allowed to leave the orphanage and be known to the world, and Soup tells her that she must remain his secret, someone that if went missing, no one would know to look for or care about. And then, later, as Lois accidentally falls off a new building she has been inspecting. Yeah, right, like she isn't killing herself now because she thinks she lost Superman. Seriously, how often do people just accidentally fall off buildings? And if Soup hadn't come back at that exact moment, Lois would be dead. Wow, good timing! So Soup, was it worth toying with Lois like that, just to get a chance with your kid cousin? Anyway, Soup then tells Lois a half-truth about why he didn't marry Mighty Maid. I learned people age earlier in her world. She was too young for me. She was only 15 years old. Keep in mind, people, that didn't stop him from making out with her or feeling her up. There's still a chance for me. Yeah, so you shouldn't have tried to end it. And that ends my review, so that's it. It's now the end. Dear Diary, today I beat up another one of those evil underwater mammals, the whales. I one day hope to wipe those evil creatures from the face of the earth. They are the second smartest animals on Earth, and that is bad. Humans are the smartest, and they can be pretty evil. So I have 3 words for them. Preemptive strike. Also, I finally got to second base with my young cousin. Only a Kryptonian can birth another Kryptonian, so if I want to have kids, I'm going to have to normalize my groping of her. Oh, and also, the cover of this comic secretly told us who Mighty Maid is. Flash, Supergirl becomes a super baby. So in one of these stories in this comic, Supergirl becomes a baby, and in the other one we just read, she becomes a woman, in more ways than one. Super baby. Fitting, since you'll never think of her as younger than when she had Superman's tongue down her throat.